Hello, once again, beautiful people. Got some more information for you. Now, I'm gonna go right ahead and apologize ahead of time. This footage is on Bili Bili, and if you don't have an account there, the footage is not going to be able. You're not gonna be able to change the quality of the video. And I tried for the life of me, but they required me to do a phone number, which I didn't have an issue with, and an ID, which I do have an issue with. I don't like posting my personal ID on the internet. It's just not a smart thing to do, in my opinion. So I I couldn't get a 1080 version of this footage. So if anybody does have a Bilibili account, you can probably go watch it in better quality there and have a better idea what I'm talking about. But till then, yeah, it's going to be stuck on 360. So that being said, however, it is new footage. There's new things in it, as in the sense of there is some strings that I had speculations about that I even brought up in the case of I said, like, I wonder if you can do this, which confirms in this video that you can. And we'll get to it. There's a whole bunch of other stuff I want to cover too. It's with the button inputs, you can remap this apparently. The community manager, Mr. Masters, which he's been around on Ninja Gaiden as a community manager for a long time. There's a whole bunch of confirmed information. Most of it we've speculated about, so it is correct. But there's a couple of confirmation here that's really nice to hear. So from players, so that's really good. Some things to clear up on Twitter, which I was mistaken about because I was lacking information, which in the information was here. So, you know, I want to give accurate information. If I was ever wrong, I have no problem admitting I was wrong. So, um, and there is I'll try to do this at the end of it, but I might nerd out early on, bring it up earlier. But there is going to be a little bit of a strategy um, guide, I guess, early on to how to deal with enemies trying to block you and stuff. Because we all saw that in Master Ninja, if you launch an enemy, that means Jack. They can still block and parry you, which puts you in a very, very long recovery phase, and it forces you on the ground in neutral state again. So it's dangerous to get parried and deflected in a launcher. But again, thankfully, the game has given you tools, and I'm hoping another way to deal with it besides the Gleaming and Blood Raven gauge. So let's get into this one first. Let's watch this. And again, bear with me here. I know the footage looks like dog shit, but just level with me here. So here, Yakumo launches, guillotine throws, and goes back into a string. Which is like the implications here are insane in what you can do. So imagine this scenario, right? Launcher, 1, 2, 3, guillotine throw into the wall splat, and he picks up the combo again. Now, I do wonder if he can guillotine throw again into the wall, right? So if you can just infinitely guillotine throws, you just stay in the air pretty much the whole time because guillotine throw gives you iframes while you perform in it. I think it still does. I don't see why it shouldn't. So imagine a scenario like this. If you can guillotine throw multiple times in the air, then this is easy. Just 1, 2, 3, guillotine throw to the wall, pick it up again. 1, 2, 3, guillotine throw into the wall. Just so you can loop that till the enemy is dead, right? But if you can't, there's a way you can most likely still manipulate this if you have to land on the ground to do it again. Imagine this scenario now. So you do launcher, 1, 2, 3, guillotine throw, shuriken, neutral shuriken throw. So as you're descending with your shuriken tosses, the enemy's still getting juggled. Jump back up in neutral state, 1, 2, 3, guillotine throw again, and you can probably still loop that. So that's a way to deal with enemies that are really annoying. I don't think this footage is new, and if it is, nothing new is happening. No, it's not new. This one is not new, but there is a new one coming later on, which is it is a question I asked myself immediately after seeing what Ryu had to go through on Master Ninja in this game, which was him getting deflected in the air after like one hit of his first string. But yeah, this is pretty much the things I've talked about. That if you get a boss's health to halfway point in that bar, so not the whole bar, just half of a bar. So this guy has 2 health bars. So if you get it to halfway point of his first health bar, he drops an essence. Right now he dropped an essence because his health is below half. So you can pop 3 essences from enemies. Well, that spot boss specifically. This footage is also not new. This is just a showcase of the Hammer OT. And I think, and this, yeah, it's going to be after this. This is just showcasing Ryu's costumes. And I got to put a disclaimer here. If the red aura is limited to his costume from Ninja Gaiden 3, after my first playthrough, I'm switching to this costume and I'm never swapping off. Because Ryu with red aura, come on, man. Like, I can't. I'm a DMC player too, so I favor towards red a little bit more. So, it's a little bit of bias there. Okay, this footage is a little bit fresher. And I think it's still on normal. I don't think it's Master Ninja. Guillotine throw tosses enemies so far away, so it's actually good. Very important thing here. Slide jump, Shuriken. He's still mid Shuriken, right? Perfect block. He didn't even land it. And then the really weird thing here, right? After he perfect blocks, pay attention to his bar, his gleaming bar. Shuriken throw, bar decreases and immediately fills back up again. It decreases for like a split second. Can I slow down on Bili Bili? Yes, I can. Thank you. The bar decreases for a split second by like 10%, and it fills right back up. And he's doing a gleaming mode without consuming gleams bar, right? So I'm guessing if you do get and this is what, like Yakumo has it, and I said I wanted to see what Ryu's version of this is, right? When you perfect block into Fatal Flash while having gleaming mode active, apparently 1, it doesn't take the bar away, and 2, it does a super move. So I'm guessing this was his light version. So this is Fatal Flash Square, and the one we see in the clip in the let's see if I can bring it up in this clip. I'm guessing this is his heavy version because it's all slams down with his neutral, his helm breaker pretty much. So I'm guessing this is heavy. Boom, 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 and then slash. And the other one we saw here, a little bit back. Oh, actually, I was on the right side. I wasn't. Okay. Yeah, that's it. And yeah, this right here. Now let me go back. Let's not lose sight of this thing. OT is just can AoE hit. If there's enemies nearby, they can AoE hit. Look at this. Look at that. He's gone. You actually don't have to worry about enemies when you have guillotine thrown for a very long time. And he's stun locking it, for him to stay away from the rest of the group, which is really smart, right? That's how you actually play the game. This perfect block into Gleam consumes nothing. Guillotine throw again, slams into the other enemy. And this, again, this is very stressful and important. Square, triangle, parried. The enemy parried his launcher on the second hit. And he canceled out of it with the gleaming launcher. Boom, block this. And he dishes that back to Gleam and down. So I'm going to bring up this clip. And I don't know if Aki is watching, but a little solution for this situation right here. I think it's here. Right, so when that happens, right, when you launch the enemy and they just block your shit, right, the problem here was I think he got blocked within 2 hits. So your reaction's got to be extremely on point. Yeah, he did 1 block and parried the second hit. So in a situation like this, when you do launch him, you do your hits, and you registered, oh, they're blocking now, you do this move here. You just do your gleaming in the air. If I can find it. Oh, I went back way too much. I think it's right here. Oh, it's so hard to find the footage. This footage I haven't watched, so I don't know where everything is. It was right after this. Okay, let me take it off, slow down. That is so sick, man. I love his gleaming moves. But yeah, in a situation like this, like if you go in the air and they start blocking it, you activate gleaming mode, You do this to break their guard and hit him out of put him in a block stun, and then you just continue your string. So if you manage your gleaming mode effectively, you can bypass the fact that they can block you, but you have to sacrifice meter in order to render them helpless. And eventually, you'll probably run out and put in a situation where you just can't bypass their guard and parries with your gleam. So what I'm hoping is that, let's see if I can find this Yakumo part again. It was right there. Silly me. Yeah. What I'm hoping that guillotine throw can also bypass their guard. Because if guillotine throw can do that, if you see them blocking in the air, and if you don't have your gleaming or bloodbind bar, you just guillotine throw them to break their guard. A lot of useful information came out because blocking your launcher is like, it's not new. They did it in 3 and it was really annoying, but they kind of parry you here. They actually parry you here. It's not them like blocking it and you can still continue. No, you get put in recovery. He canceled it with the gleaming launcher, which I don't know the input for, because that is the next piece of information I'm going to brought up and clarify a little bit. It might be bad news for some people, but trust me, it's not as bad as it sounds. On first initial hearing, you're going to be like, "What the hell, man?" But then just stay with me, and I'm going to explain why it's actually a brilliant thing they've done, and it adds a lot of comfort. But if I'm being honest, it still feels like it's reducing depth. But yeah, we'll get to it. Yeah, glad you can still do that. You can change elevations depending on your Izuna drive. You can toss them at a shorter distance or a longer distance. But yeah, cool thing there. I did not know UTs can actually wall splat. So this gives you a massive pickup time again. And also, if you not Izuna, if you flying swallow into the wall, you can do wall runs now. Apparently, so I know in 2 and 3, if you flying swallow into the wall, Ryu sticks to the wall a little bit, and he can do a wall kickoff move, which is a powered up version of whatever you decide to press, square or triangle. But now you can just straight up wall run. So I'm curious if you can do some movement tech where it's like something's out of range, you do jump, flying swallow into the wall, and you just wall run. There might be some puzzles like that too, but we'll see. But yeah, amazing display here again. Enemy starts blocking it. Range enemy, by the way. Yeah, he's blocking now, and bam, break that guard. That is exactly how they want you to use Gleaming and Bloodbind. You see enemy guards, spend it. And you know this guy's been playing this mission a lot because he pre-empted the Essence Absorb. But that also, this is new. Well, it's not nothing major, but it's a good strat. So as soon as the UT finishes, he pops Berserk. The aura appears around him. You can actually see the Berserk gauge go red here, which is when he activated. Screenshot is really cool too, by the way. I would love to use this as a thumbnail, but looks horrible. But in the pixelated. But yeah, you can pop Berserk in the middle of OT. Now I don't know if that's gonna have a big implication in actual combat, but it's good that you're not completely locked out of pressing stuff when you're doing a UT. Because usually when you're doing a UT, it's pretty much a cutscene. You can barely even control where Ryu goes. Like you can obviously, but it's kind of hard because targeting in this game is not the best. That sequence right there too. This is a normal ass enemy. This is a normal ass enemy. 1, 2, 3, 4. The good thing is here is that Ryu's guard was not getting weakened. If you look at the footages where Ryu is blocking, or Yakumo Ryu is blocking bosses attacks, it goes white, orange, red, and then next hit breaks it, right? So normal enemies apparently can't do that, or maybe they need a lot more hits to actually break your guard. But yeah, and Ryu aura farming. This portion is also new, but it's really short, so we'll play it out. It's just an assassination to a Nimpo, which again, Nimpo is for Ryu is gleam and circle. So it's your projectile gleam mode. This footage is not new, and that is all the new footage here. It was just a Yakumo guillotine throw in the air. This whole combat sequence, well, not that one. After this, yeah, this whole combat sequence. So if I can give you a roundup of what we learned here is that you can, in fact, combine your strings with gleaming. So if you are doing, and that we learned that Fatal Flash Gleaming mode does not consume blade. Okay, we learned that if you do see like 1, 2, 3, gleam and end. If you do let go of gleam, by the way, it resets your string. Pardon me for the flashbang. I'll do that so it doesn't bother you guys' eyes. And as I've said before, at any point, if you do press triangle in a string or whatever you're doing, if there's a delim enemy, it'll prioritize doing a obliteration technique on that enemy. I like that. Because there's been many cases where Ryu just swings at somebody else and it's frustrating to like no end. When you know there's like a D-Limb Vangal backdashing away from you, you slide towards it, you press your heavy, and Ryu decides to attack right behind him instead of doing OTs. And in 3, that happens too. He just does heavy attacks sometimes instead of D-Limb. So it's I'm okay with this being a contextual thing now almost, instead of it being like, hey, you have to do the attack and the attack has to land for you to get the OT. This is way more consistent, and I like consistency. So, speaking of consistency, this thing. Now, I'll do an explanation here before I even go into this video. So, this gentleman here, or lady, I don't know, send me this clip, this Bili Bili clip, and if you can speak Chinese again, watch this, and by all means, if you're kind enough, you can help me translate this or write down some key points for me in the comments. But apparently in this interview here, they have confirmed that the forward inputs are gone. Again, calm down. I will explain why this is actually not a bad situation. And I have footage to back it up. So, I've heard that forward inputs are gone, which I like, but there's a problem there. And instead, you have new inputs, which are back forward. So for people that have played Metal Gear Rising, you know that back forward inputs are the inputs that kind of, close distance. You kind of, you slingshot yourself. That's why it's a back forward motion, because you slingshot yourself forward. But Raiden has his version of Stinger, basically. And I think Sam also had one. It's been such a long time since I played Sam's DLC, but I forgot his moveset completely. I don't remember his strings, but not his whole moveset. So, and I've also heard that in between strings, forward input is gone too. Again, like that part, the second part is a little bit bad because there's a lot of strings that start with that. That you go square, square, forward, square into something else, and it just does a whole new thing. And I have to go into speculation here and say that maybe those strings, the forward input strings in the middle of your strings, have been replaced because you might be able to return to light strings afterwards. In most cases, and I'll bring up an example, like imagine with Ryu in Razor's Edge, right? In the Ninja Gaiden 3, you do square, 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 triangle, 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 right? And that's your 3 light, 3 heavy string. And that gives you that. Imagine if you can do square, 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 triangle, square, square, or you can do square, 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 triangle, triangle, square. Usually when you go to your heavy string after your light string, you can't always go back to the light string. So maybe they've removed the forward inputs because one, there are genuinely a lot of work when it comes to a player being able to utilize them perfectly. What I mean by that, before skill issue gets spammed in comments or something, doing a forward input is not hard. Like you can just hold the direction, press the square button. That's not the issue. The issue comes in when you want to target a specific enemy. Like let's say, I'm gonna go to Ninja Gaiden 3, and I'm gonna stream this game after this video. So imagine in this case, right? Imagine I want to hit a neutral string on this guy behind me. I just want to do a normal square, square, square. I have to tap my analog this way, wait for Ryu to align, let go of my analog stick, meaning let my analog stick and Ryu go back to neutral, and then start my square, which is a lot of downtime of you keeping control on your character and inputs, right? This is micromanaging stuff, by the way. So if you don't understand that, don't feel bad. This is literally for people that play this game a little too much and have too much understanding of it, and they want to micromanage everything, right? So this part is genuinely just for absolute like maniacs with this game. So if I wanted to attack this guy behind me with a neutral string, I have to reposition Ryu, wait for that analog to go neutral, and swing. And then I hit this guy. Now imagine I was hitting this guy, but I saw this guy coming up on me and wanted to attack me. I want to switch my thing. So I gotta hold my analog backwards now. But I'm on my second hit of my light string, so I'm doing light, right? If I hold forward, or if I hold any direction, Ryu is going to go into his next string, which is his forward square, which is not what I want to do. I want to turn back, attack this guy to interrupt him from hitting me, but Ryu doesn't do that because you have directional inputs in middle of combos. It is genuinely had been a really bad thing, and you need a lot of info and knowledge to actually make these situations work without Ryu fucking it up, right? And I bring like since I have inputs here, so again, situation here, right? If I was doing light, and if I want to hit this guy that tried to backflip me, like you've seen it on screen, the situation is created here. If I wanted to interrupt this guy, Ryu would have hit with this string, not the normal square string. It would have been in square forward square, which would hit this guy, and that's not what I want. I just want to hit him with a normal string. Because after you do square, square, your triangle attack is an AoE attack, so it knocks everybody around you. So forward inputs seem to be gone for the sake of consistency, and because I trust Platinum enough to be, that's exactly the reason why they have done it, is because staying consistent with Ryu landing his forward squares is asinine. It is really hard. Like, it's actually bad. I have had many problems with both 2 and 3 that I want to hit a different guy than what Ryu's facing with a normal string, but it is impossible because if I try to realign Ryu without dashing or stepping, if I hold the direction and press square, he does his forward square strings, which are different strings, and you don't have the same route. So it's a problem. You can't stay consistent with it. You need a lot of knowledge. For your average player, this is a nightmare. They're not even going to notice these are an issue, right? But after they get better, they're like, damn, I wanted to target that guy. Why did Ryu did like a forward thrust? I didn't want that. It's because you're holding a direction. So it is genuinely a consistency issue with forward string on startup. I could give a leeway to forward strings in the middle of a string because forward inputs in the middle of the string because this is a little bit more controllable. But again, in a situation like this where someone's coming to attack you from behind, which now you have indications for in Ninja Gaiden 4, and you want to change targets, but Ryu's like, nah, let me show you this new string though. And then, situation gets out of hand. And in Master Ninja, when the situation gets out of hand, you die. So, that being said, before people think, oh, they remove strings, now we have less depth. Incorrect. Because I use this example to show someone. So, pardon the audio is like extremely distinct from the clip. But here, square, and this thrust into teleport behind, slam, this string right here, right? You see it, this is in Razor's Edge. This is his forward string. He goes into overhead, you hold triangle, he goes into the launcher, you go to any type of Izuna drop you want. Which is not that, which is something that people said, oh, they're removing his strings, his depths are gone. Not necessarily. He still has his forward string, teleport behind, overhead, hold triangle, which goes into the launcher, and you do Izuna, which this guy doesn't do. So the move set is still there. How you get to it is different. Again, same situation here. Rust, teleport behind slash, overhead, and launcher. And then you go into whatever aerial string you want. And since we saw in this video, there's a lot of aerial strings you can do. What did the video reset? That's weird. You can do your gleaming bullshit here. Oh, this is much slower now. Weird. But yeah, anyways, but I'm not gonna bring that up again. So again, the forward strings seem to have been removed slash replaced with back forward, as this person is describing. I hope they don't mind being in the video. And the only issue I have, and this is the only issue I might personally have with this, that have these been removed or reduced. Granted, you don't use all these strings. You don't use all his four forward square forwards square strings in the game. Some of them just don't track, or some of them just don't hit. They have issues with consistency, sure, but I do want the moves to be there still. So if it's like square back forward into square, if that's how the string continues, I'm okay with that, because pressing forward to realign yourself, or pressing A direction to realign yourself, or to switch targets, because Ninja Gaiden doesn't have free combat, so that's why usually people tend to single Shuriken throw to, interrupt, but that resets your whole flow, right? So you have to start a new flow, which is the way you play Ninja Gaiden. That's pretty much has been the identity of how you play Ninja Gaiden in a flow. It's like, hey, you're beating somebody up, but somebody else is coming your way. You can't really retarget them. It's really hard, and Ryu just refuses to retarget somebody else that you're not already beating up. So people do shuriken toss, and then continue a different string, or just jump guillotine throw to get him out of the way so you can go back to your main target, right? That's how you play Ninja Gaiden. But in Platinum's version, which is Ninja Gaiden 4, that seems to be nullified a little bit. So because the soft lock and hard lock, there is a lock on in the game, we've seen it. Allows you to know who you're targeting and to switch targets easier. So for the 10,000 times, removing forward strings is just for the sake of consistency. Removing in between forward string might reduce the depth, but again, if it is a back forward input in the middle of your string, a little bit harder to do, but a lot more deliberate in inputs. Because at this point, if you just wanted to switch targets, right? Just hold the direction. Just hold the direction you want to attack this guy in, right? So, and Ryu switches targets. If you press like back forward, right? Like you need to mean to press those buttons, because it is two opposite directions, right? So it's much harder to actually recreate that situation. Devil May Cry has it too, and it works wonders in that game. With drive and like kick 13, all that. It's like it works perfectly in that game. So it'll work really good in Ninja Gaiden as well. But as I always have to say, to know how these things feel like, we have to get our hands on the game. So that was the quote unquote negative part of the thing. I don't know exactly how that's going to play out. So that out of the way, let's get to the confirmed information provided by, again, Mr. Masters, the community manager for Ninja Gaiden. This was posted by someone on the Reddit forum, I think. I just saw a screenshot of it on Twitter, posted by someone. So, all right, I'll read it out for you guys so you don't have to, waste your time looking at the screen. Masters, okay, let me unload a few very small bits since people have played the game now, at least at Gamescom. Okay, point number 1. Each weapon has a lot of moves in their base form for Yakumo. Can't say how many specifically, but it's enough to create fun combos and not really get tired of them even with just one weapon. So, that's been the case since ever, actually. Like, even Ninja Gaiden 2 has like a plethora of strings you can do with every single weapon. Quite honestly, a little too much for the average person. They have to actually look at the moveset most of the time to remember, like, oh, I have this string. Yeah, sure, I gotta use this. Even I sometimes, with weapons that I don't usually play with, I'm like, how do you do this string again? I have to open the combat thing and to scroll, the move list scroll, and to be like, okay, how does this? Okay, it's forward, back, forward, 360, jump in the room, all that stuff. So it's good that Yakumo, just with his weapon, just with his base weapon, without Blood Raven, has a lot of moves. So that's one. Point number 2. Each weapon Yakumo has can go into Blood Raven and extend the combo further and reset base combo strings if you stop using Blood Raven. That's BR. Okay. So this is what I mentioned earlier, that if you stop using your Blood Raven moves, the combo string resets. So you can do infinites, technically. You can legitimately just do an infinite. If the enemy is like, oh, you hit me once, I'm a block, and a parry on the next one, you can literally just hit it, like do square. Oh, you're blocking, Blood Raven, break his guard, go back to like square, triangle, whatever you want to do. You can just literally infinite them till they're dead. All right. Point number 3. Blood Raven obviously has a meter to avoid infinites. They've mentioned this in an article that it was too powerful, so they had to limit it. Makes sense, I think. So doing it over and over will burn it out, and you're back to only base form. So, and we've seen that in the Master Ninja footage, and I'll bring it up right now. Actually, I'd like to have representation of what I'm talking about. Case right here, right? This guy was blocking his flying swallow, so it was like, all right, bet I'm gonna launch you with the gleaming. I'm gonna do gleaming blade on you. He wasted his whole bar, didn't kill this guy, got hit in the process, and did practically nothing. Now he has no offensive ability with gleam, right? Now he's back to normal stuff, and guess what? This guy is blocking everything, and there's no answer now. There's no answer that you cannot do anything. So he tried all his defensive basic options. He was like slide dumping away. He was blocking. He perfect dodged. He perfect blocked after getting hit. He used all his offensive defensive abilities because he was all out of offense, and that puts you in a massive disadvantage, right? So you're not advised to all in with this thing unless you know it's going to get the job done. Which in this case, it did not. This guy didn't even get delimbed. First mission of the game on Master Ninja, by the way. I'm going to repeat that till I stop hearing people saying this game is easy. All right. So, point number 4. Blood Raven form also has some alternative moves or hits depending if you hold the attack. That's where the weapon visual effects or size gets even more exaggerated, but comes usually at the risk which is speed most of the time. Each weapon will vary, and some may have different techniques with different risks. And we've seen this with I'll break it down. I think I can bring up this IGN footage just to make it a little bit more digestible for you guys while I'm talking about it. Covered. I think it was this one, right? Audio is gonna be gone. So we know that every hit you do, you can also charge it with most weapons. So with his Blood Raven sword and his katana, the Kadachi something, I forgot the name. If you hold it, your blade gets longer, and it covers a big AOE, right? And you can do it in the air, you can do it on the ground, you can do it in the middle of the strings, right? And with the drill, we've seen that when you hold Bloodbind with the drill, he continuously drills into the enemy. The drill ahead spins, like right there. See, that was a charged Blood Raven. Boom. And does that. So that's the blade, and we see the drill right like a little bit after this. There we go. So that's the hold for the drill. When you hold the drill, it does that. Boom. I don't know what the hammer does. I think you can just charge your hammer hits. I don't think we've seen it too often. And for the I gotta bring it up though. I don't know where that might be. For the assassin's tool, his holds are he throws out the shurikens rapidly. He spins like in a tornado and throws out the shurikens. It's really cool. That's the berserk one. So yeah, each weapon has its own unique charge motion. So you charge with the blade, sword gets longer. You charge with the drill, you continuously hit them. You charge with the assassin's tool, you keep tossing your shurikens out. It's like a long range spam. With the hammer, again, I might be just drawing blank on this because I've just watched so much footage of this. I don't know where have I seen it, but I think with the hammer you just charge your hits. It just makes bigger AoEs on the floor. Okay, and point number 5. Holding B or circle in Blood Raven form allows for projectiles for every weapon or a better version of them, i.e. Assassin's Kit. We just talked about it. Not all projectiles for each weapon are created equal. So, what that means, and I've talked about it in my last breakdown, is that not the Master Ninja one, the Yakumo one. I'll go back to the footage so we might see it. So every weapon also has a projectile attack. So the sword, again, if you played Metal Gear Rising Sam's DLC, when you do I think if you do running heavy hold with Sam, he sends out a shockwave with his sword. Yakumo's main weapon, which is the dual blades, if you do Blood Raven and Circle, he sends out that exact shockwave. It's red, it wobbles as it's spinning around, so it's exactly the same thing. With the spear, he sends out like a blood bullet, and with the assassin's tool, he sends out the smoke bombs and the shurikens. It's and again for the hammer, honestly, for the staff, we have not seen. I don't think we've seen what the staff can do. If anybody knows what the staff's projectile is, let me know in the comment. I'll see if I can find it so I can show it later. That might be the charge move for the hammer. I'm not gonna lie. I think it just makes it better when you slash on the floor. Anyways, back to the next point. Each weapon for Yakumo also has a jumping or traversal mechanic with Blood Raven and A and X, so your jump. As you've seen, Yakumo can enlarge in his sword to avoid lower danger and hang on top of it and allow follow-up attack if he wants to. Each weapon gives him something and they will all function a little differently. So with with his dual katanas, he does the pull stance. He extends his sword and like a flagpole and just sits on top of it. We've seen that, and I'll bring up this one actually because I know exactly where it is. Watched it way too many times. It's a really cool section as well. Gotta get to the laser room. I think I passed it. I'm a silly goose, but yeah, there it is. Okay, and with the assassin's tool, boom, he does that. He jumps up. I'll bring it back a little bit so you guys can see. Yeah, he does the flip thing. That's his jump, right? And I'm guessing this is his either that's the same input, right? Either that's the same input, which is Blood Raven jump attack, or this is Blood Raven range attack, which hits directly under you, launches anybody that gets hit by it, and you can just descend into a string and you can go into a Zuno drop. Or, whatever other string you want to do. You can just keep levitating them in the air. So, yeah, implications are insane with this game. Like, just watching this game puts like thousands of ideas in my head. I'm sure you guys are feeling the same way too, of how to do combos, how to just get rid of somebody as quick as possible. So, yeah. And again, don't know if you've seen the hammer. I don't know if you've seen the spear either. His drill. I think the drill might be the way he stands on top of it and just flies around. So it might be that. Next point. You can, and I think point number 7, you can weapon swap easily in the air if you want to, meaning touchy to staff to rapier. Example. On the ground, it's a little harder but not impossible. It usually involved Blood Raven to do it. So touching to Blood Raven Rapier usually stops at that. So okay, so your weapon switching in the ground seems to be a little bit more restrictive by the sound of it. It could be scale issue on the end of people that played. I'm gonna say that, but it could be that didn't explore enough with it because apparently you didn't have too much of a time on the demo. Thankfully, the long was like 45 minutes long most of the time because the Ninja Gaiden 4 booth at Gamescom was like tucked away a little bit, so it was hard for people to find it. So maybe that's why it wasn't as busy. And most people were just gathered up to play RE9 Requiem for some reason because I don't know why you would want to play that. It's not there's not much gameplay. It's just a spook section. Onimusha had a good decent amount of gameplay, so I would understand if people play that. But like, I would have had a tent right next to this booth that was there. But anyways, I digress. And this is the important part. This is very important. Settings. You can adjust the button layout, and boom, here's the button layout. The the bumper buttons look like dog shit, if I'm being quite honest. So, Blood Raven is RT, sure, whatever. It's your aim down, so it's fine, right? Item wheels L1. I don't want that shit there. I don't even want it existing in the first place, right? So this is probably gonna get dissipated. Block button R2. That's horrible because we've always blocked with L1, right? And your dodge on block button is the same, so you want to do that, right? And Raven gear is on R1. That's fine. I can get away. I can deal with that because R1 was just camera recenter, so fuck that button. We don't need camera recenter. I don't think at least anymore. But camera reset is still here. So if you're really, really old fashioned, you can still put your camera reset on R1. It's fine, right? It's like whatever. have fun with it, right? Um, twin blades and all this is here too, and you can rebind them, which is awesome. You can rebind all this, and I will rebind most of them probably because I have a because of Borderlands 2. I have a specific layout when I go to my hard hitting weapon, fast hitting weapon, precision weapon, all that. So I'm probably gonna do that. My rapier is gonna be where my sniper slot is. My top is gonna be my all around there, which is twin blades. My heavy weapon is gonna be the shotgun at the bottom, and my yeah, it's gonna be that. You can do whatever you want. So, and movement and dash and while running slide. Now this is very interesting to me. And what I'm gonna end up probably doing is I'm gonna put my item wheel on L3, right? Put my sprint on R1 because I played a lot of Monster on it, and I just don't want to click. There's one problem I have with the modern controllers. Every time you press your R3 or L3, you can feel money leaving your wallet because these things are made like shit, and they'll break and they'll get drifty, and just that's another $80 you have to drop on a controller, and I'm probably gonna have to buy 6 different controllers for that Ninja Gaiden 4. So my recommendation would be to remove the sprint button and put it on R1, right? Put your block and dodge on L1 because it's the classic. This is how God intended it to be, right? And if you're like me and you're a DMC player or you're just allergic to using the items, put the item wheel on your R3 because I know you wouldn't want to use it most of the time, right? So that's that. I've heard that if you want to use item wheel, you just bring it up and you control it with this, with the R3. So, and when you bring up the wheel up, the game slows down for you, so you don't have to worry about getting hit when there's a big ass menu covering your screen. So yeah, Blood Raven, I'm probably gonna keep it there. If anything, I might switch it to R2 because my finger is gonna be mostly focused on blocking, perfect blocking, and dodging on R1, right? So I don't want to keep both fingers on left side occupied while I'm trying to, finger bang my movement as well. So might switch the Blood Raven to R2 instead. And block dodge go here. Raven Gear's probably gonna go on L2 because usually grapple is on L2. It's on the aim down. So yeah, whatever. But again, adjust it how you like. Moving away. Settings you can adjust camera. How far or how close you're comfortable with to feel like older Ninja Gaiden game. So if you're a psychopath, you can put the camera right up Ryu's ass as close as possible and suffer by off-screen attacks. Me, I'm going to pull it back like I'm playing a RTS game as far as I can because I want to process everything in my surrounding. I want to know everything that's happening because it's not like DMC where you can keep enemies off camera and they don't function. In this game, they'll absolutely mess you over if they're off camera. So I would rather see what they're doing so I can prepare for it better. Settings. You can remove all Hitstop or keep it like NG Classic, where it mostly happens in D-limbs like Ninja Gaiden 2 and 3. And what? Okay, it says edited. Why do I feel like he didn't include 3? And he had to fucking edit it to put that. That would be funny if that's actually the case. Anyways, yeah. So Hitstop was a big thing for a lot of people. I personally despise Hitstop. Because usually how Hitstop is mostly implemented, I'll just put up a gameplay while I'm going on a rant here. Hitstop usually is implemented where your character gets slowed down, but your surroundings don't, and that gives you that's literally a handicap because while you're being slowed down by Hitstop, every other enemy can just reposition, close distance, or start up an attack while you still slow down just to look better, just to feel better, right? So I'm probably gonna remove Hitstop. And if the it says you can remove all this shit, if that actually affects your Berserk Bloodbind kills, which gives you the little kanji kill screen, if that goes away, I'm 100% turning off my Hitstop. On first playthrough, I'm keeping this up. On first playthrough, I'm not gonna touch anything in the settings besides camera speed because I want the game to be played the way the directors intended it to be played. So I'm not gonna switch costumes. I'm not gonna do anything. Everything's gonna be as authentic as day one comes. Afterwards, I'm playing my own game. Like as soon as I see the credits, I am changing everything. And last point here, settings. You can remove warning markers of enemies and make and big red exclamations, but cannot remove the red aura similar to NG3 but different visual effects. Right. So, um, if a point comes up, okay, that's also the thing, by the way, the charged or the hold button for the bloodbind. It just throws that shurikens. So explanation mark, the red markers. So you see it right here. So there's the red marker is this, the glint, right? You know, all that. But the aura, this blackened aura, the gray attack, that stays on them because you do need a visual and it tell that something's gonna happen to you and you can do something about it. And this is the explanation mark. You know, the ring, the MGS thing. So yeah. You can get rid of all this and the indicators or indicators on screen like these. It's so hard to bring it up because they're all just gray. Someone attack off screen, please. And you will never hear me say that ever again on my life. Come on, somebody gotta attack off screen now. I think they all just die here. Oh, you know, I know where to go. I know where to go for this. Where's our last fight? There you go. Enemies definitely attack off screen here. Yeah, that right there. I'm bringing it back frame by frame. This thing right here, this flashes, right? You can remove these two. So everything we just said, the exclamation marks, these indicators, and the AoE attacks on the floor, you can get rid of those. But you cannot get rid of the gray aura that appears on the enemy when they're doing a strong attack because you can't break them. So that is all the Gamescom information brought to us by Masters gathering information. So again, thank you, Masters. Hope you see the video eventually. I don't think you need to, but so that's that. This is the thanks to whoever this person is taking a screenshot. I don't know how you even managed to do this because you're not supposed to record or take pictures of the game. But yeah, thank you to this guy, whoever you may be, for taking the screenshot of the layouts. Because yeah, I saw these bumpers and I was like, what in the hell is going on here? This is an abomination of inputs. So that's that. These are most of the information that I covered to this. Again, the Bili Bili footage. If you can read Chinese, you know, it's this provided to you by, I'm assuming, this guy. There's some more footage here, nothing new. So, you know, but if you want to go peek it out for yourself, there's a lot of cool implications here about like how combat should flow and all that. So, yeah, this is not the same footage. Yeah. See, I've watched too much footage to know which one's not which. This makes me really happy though to bring it up again. The fact that if you fatal flash into gleaming, it does not consume bar, so you can just mess up everybody. And naturally, this is just exactly what I was wondering about. I was like, hey, if enemies can block me in the air, can I just gleaming them or blood revving them? Yes, you can. Which is you're incentivized to do so. That's exactly how they want you to play the game. So perfect, right? Everything works out perfectly. Eating through OP as always. That guy got what the hell happened to him? Oh, Flying Swallow. Okay, I was about to say. So Flying Swallow can still be hit early on. That's cool. But anyways, people, that is it. That is everything. And again, for people that somehow didn't see the Master Ninja gameplay, I'll bring it up again so you can look at it. You do absolutely get messed up here, and enemies hurt. Like this is a armor move, and he still takes a quarter of his life while doing a gleaming attack, right? And if you're out of gleaming, doesn't matter. You just get messed up. Like this sequence right here, perfect dodge. Like he could have just went away a little bit more, but this guy continuously attacks and tracks you. Like they track you. This is the only thing I don't like about this game so far. The fact that you dodge and they still track you. I despise that. I despise enemies tracking you after you dodge. I don't care if it's Tekken, I don't care if it's Ninja Gaiden, I don't care if it's DMC. If I dodged, I don't need the enemy to 180 to be reliant with me. That's so cheap. Especially considering how Ryu can't do that half the time either in the old games. Like in many cases in Ninja Gaiden, we might see it today after I start streaming because in Razor's Edge, you be doing a string, enemy dodges out, and Ryu is just swinging at the wall. So you actually stop hitting the button. This sequence right here puts the fear of God in me. I think Aki Lightning brought it up yesterday too, funny enough, because this was in my head and he just put it in words. Usually when you want breather and you want to relax your fingers, when you want to think about your surroundings and shit, you launch an enemy, you do your Izuna, and you spin your camera to see what's going on around you so you can realign your combat. And then now you have to worry about, like, hey, I've launched this guy, and now I'm fucked because he can parry me and just completely put me at a disadvantage. This doesn't seem like a big deal right now because there's only one weapon, right? But imagine you land and there's like 6 different people around you. And we saw what happened we saw what happened here. We saw what happened here. He got hit, he got surrounded, he died, right? Imagine if you're in recovery like this and you're dead. That's a restart. Restart checkpoint. Thanks. Come back again. And the fact that the fact that range enemies just have dodges that like increase distance, and the fact that projectile, this was 3 bullets while he was blocking. He blocked 3 bullets. Look at his health. He lost a quarter of recoverable health. You can get it back, and Zuno drop doesn't give you health back. So yeah, plenty of ruthless things in Master Ninja. But that would be it. So I will start streaming after this. Again, if you guys want to drop by and ask me questions, or we can figure some stuff about Ninja Gaiden 4 together on chat, feel free to drop by. I don't know if it's going to be a full playthrough, but I know that I'm going to subjugate myself on playing Ninja Gaiden 3 on Master Ninja against my better judgment. So yeah, drop by the stream if it's still up. Have some fun, and I'll catch you guys next time.